Who should take this course? This course is meant for e-commerce operators, but this course has been structured based on CA final syllabus. So students taking up CA final course will also find this course useful. Accountants, finance managers working in e-commerce companies can take this course to understand their basic accounting procedures. How this course will benefit you? This course is going to teach you the theory and practice behind the accounting concepts related to e-commerce business with supporting case studies. What are the major components of this course? In this course, you are going to understand the classification of e-commerce websites, how revenue should be recognized for e-commerce business, what are the accounting principles accounting for e-commerce business, how recognition and measurement of cost should take place, what is the treatment for rebates, discount and other incentives. Then you'll also learn how to account for GST in e-commerce business, how you should account under inventory-led model, account under open marketplace model, and how to account as an aggregator. So these are all the broad coverage in this course. So once again, I welcome you to this course. Let's look at the classification of e-commerce websites. We can classify them on the basis of business, on the basis of consumer. Now on the basis of business, we have B2B e-commerce websites and B2C e-commerce websites. And on the basis of consumers, we have C2B e-commerce websites and C2C e-commerce websites. So what are they? Let's see one by one. Now what do we mean by B2B e-commerce websites? Now these are all the websites which are going to link different businesses, or say it's going to link different parts of a business. Here transactions will be taking place between, say, industrial manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, and the special features of B2B sites are there will be high volume per customer. Of course there will be lesser number of customers, but it's going to be high volume, and there will be secured payment systems and privacy of information. Okay, so these are all about B2B websites, and if you think of examples, it can be like clickforsteel.com, it can be indiaconstruction.com and so on. Okay, then we have B2C websites. These are all the websites which are directly selling the products or services to consumers itself. Okay, so we have large number of websites, and if you look at the features of these B2C websites, there will be low volume per consumer, but there will be large number of consumers. Okay, examples can be like say rediff.com, it can be fabmart.com, or it can be jaldi.com and so on from Indian perspective. So these are all the B2B and B2C sites coming under the category of business. Then we have sites on the basis of consumer, where we have C2B and C2C. Now what is the C2B? Let's look at it. C2B sites. Okay, first we'll finish off C2B. C2B sites are sites where the consumers are going to set prices, and business enterprises will bid to offer their products and services. Here the consumers will band together, okay, and they will present themselves as a buyer group. Okay, so here the consumers are going to band together, they are going to present themselves as a buyer group in the C2B relationship, and these groups can be economically motivated groups like with demand aggregators, or it can also be socially oriented group with say cost related advocacy groups. Okay, so this is about C2B, and the examples can be priceline.com. Then we have C2C e-commerce sites. Now the C2C e-commerce sites will enable the consumers to sell or buy from each other through auction process, and here there is going to be an exchange. Okay, and this exchanges are going to involve transactions between and among the consumers itself, and When we say exchange, that also includes third party involvement. Okay, so this is about C2C, and this is how we are classifying e-commerce websites. Let's look at some of the usual terms of agreement between the vendors and e-commerce operators, especially something which is going to have impact on accounting. The first one is debit note against vendor. If goods supplied by the vendors are found defective, or if goods supplied are returned back, then debit note will be raised against the vendor. Now first let's look at this. When goods supplied are found defective and if it is sent back, then the expenses related to the cost of transportation, discount allowed, cash discount, everything should be borne by the vendor, and to this extent a debit note will be raised against the vendor by the e-commerce operator. And when the goods supplied are returned, then the expenses related to the sales return, cost of transportation, discount allowed, cash discount, everything should be borne by the vendor, right? Then these e-commerce operators will be conducting specific events, or they'll be carrying out specific marketing activity or promotions. In such cases, the planned liability on account of sale of merchandise or service should be communicated to the vendor, and decision on shared liability. Okay. The decision on shared liability will be taken on case to case basis, and it will be communicated and debited to the vendor's account from time to time. Then comes the third one, the terms of agreement with regard to purchase order or amendment in purchase order. That is, whenever a purchase order is placed or whenever purchase order is amended, it is deemed to be accepted. If the vendor is not accepting, then he should communicate within 3 working days of the date of placement of order. Fourth, terms with regard to goods or services. Okay, so it is agreed that the goods or services will be delivered by the vendor within the time and within the delivery terms as mentioned in purchase order or amended purchase order. Else, what will happen is that sales or services have to be accepted by the vendor at the discounted price, which will be at the discretion of the concerned manager of e-commerce operator. And finally, change in market price. If there are any change in the price or say maximum retail price, the vendor should give minimum 15 days of time to the e-commerce operator. So these are all the broad terms and conditions which are said to have some kind of impact on accounting. We'll see them gradually.